And we want to thank our studio audience for joining us today. To find out how you can become a member of our studio audience, visit delmarvalife.com, click on the show tab. And if you don't have access to the web, you can also call the number on your screen, 443-880-9116. Fall can be a great time for planting. Not only does the cooler weather reduce stress on plants, roots have time to establish themselves for fuller foliage in the spring. And here to guide us through the fall planting process is gardening expert Ginny with the University of Maryland Extension Office. Always surrounded by beautiful plants when you're here.
Always.
So what kind of plants should we be planting in the fall?
Well, a lot of trees do best if you plant them in the fall because they're so massive. They have so many leaves and stems and all that kind of stuff that if you can plant the trees in the fall, they do have a tendency to get well established. And things like grasses. I mean, if you plant them now, especially the cold season grasses, then you can enjoy the beautiful when they move in the wind and when they're full of snow. They're just gorgeous. So they're very, very good. And shrubs, herbaceous perennials, they all do great in the fall. The only thing I would say is don't plant annuals unless you're going to do things like pansies, because these are winter pansies and they're cold hardy. They're going to last through the winter, and many of them will come back in the springtime looking absolutely beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, we had mentioned a few reasons why fall is a great time to plant. What are some other advantages to planting now?
Well, besides the fact that the roots get well established, which was a great alliteration, I think part of it also is it's easier sometimes. People have slowed down with their schedules, and then they can go ahead and visit the nurseries and see where things go. I like that too. Also, sometimes some of the plants actually lose the leaves, and you get to see the structure of the plant, so you can go ahead and put where it should go.
Right.
But most of all, I think it's just that it's just a lot easier to go ahead and say, look, I need to go ahead and get my planting done. You have to do a lot less watering. And that's a savings. In terms of, the time and all that kind of stuff, if you can go ahead and water it in really good, then you usually only have to water it maybe once a week, unless you have a hot spout.
Right.
It's usually not that hot in the fall.
I mean, you get those days every once in a while.
Yeah, and then, and you'll notice it because your plants will, instead of looking perky, will kind of look a little wilted. You go, hey, let me check the soil.
Okay. Now, I thought I was planting mums earlier. Actually, I was planting an aster, I do believe, because we were talking about it before we went on. I also put mulch down.
Oh, good.
Is that okay in the fall?
Yes, yes. I like to tell people, when you're in the fall, you probably cleaned up some of the annuals that didn't look exactly right, so you went ahead and put either your mums or your asters in. And I think a little bit of mulch is good. Now, remember, you don't want to put more than 2 inches. We have a little critter called a vole. Vole with a V is vegetarians, and they eat lots of plants, including things like this little mandina, all of your tulips, the hostas, and all that. And they love to be able to run through the mulch because it's easier for them to run through the mulch instead of our soil.
Right.
It's just easier. So you put too much mulch, you're going to get voles.
All right. A lot of us are planting the mums.
Yes.
What do you suggest for that? I mean, is now a good time to plant them?
Now
Should we wait? Or?
No. Now is perfect. A lot of people like to use them for decoration. They'll put them in a pretty container as they get, on their front steps and all that, and that's fine. And don't expect those to live through the winter. But if you're going to plant them now in the fall, this is the time because they will have a chance to get their roots together into the soil. And when you do that, you want to go ahead and make sure that you take it out of the pot. A lot of people say, oh, let me just put it right in the pot. No, take it out of the pot. Go ahead, take a look at the roots, tease the roots away a little bit, or use your fingers to do that, or
kind of loosen it up.
Loosen it up. Roots will continue to circle, and then they'll kill themselves. So you want to break that up a little bit, and then put it in the soil. Plant it at the same height as the soil, or maybe just a tad higher, and then you can add your mulch and water it in.
All right, now when the first frost comes and the mums start to die off, should we prune them for next year?
I like to do that. The reason why I like to do that is I like to go ahead and tidy up the garden. By taking off the dead leaves and all, you're removing the chance that the diseases that are on those dead leaves could stay over there. And there are a lot of bugs that like to hide in that leaf litter too. So by cleaning up the garden and pruning it out, you're getting rid of that. Now, I would never prune grasses.
Okay.
And there are some herbaceous perennials that look gorgeous in the winter as architectural features. So I would leave them. And leave your pansies because they're just going to bloom. Anytime there's a little bit of a warm day, they're just going to park right up there and say hello.
It's always nice to have a little bit of color.
Yes.
All right, so we get the first frost. Is there anything else we need to do in our garden, or is that kind of the sign, wait till next spring?
Well, I guess what I say also, that's a good time to go ahead and keep an eye on how dry it is. If it's a really, really dry fall, especially if you have evergreen plants like these, you might want to go ahead and continue to water at least once a week.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, you can usually pretty much kick back, look at the seed catalogs for next year, and do some dreaming.
And start thinking about spring.
Garden dreaming.
And I'm sure you'll be with us in the spring to talk about spring planting and getting our garden together.
Absolutely.
Jenny, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Always good information from Jenny. And if you would like more information, some more fall gardening tips, go to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab. Up next on Delmarva Life, yesterday we showed you the start of Brian's dance lessons with his soon-to-be wife. Today we show you more. Brian thinks he's so smooth, but he may want to think again. Plus, the new season of 2.5 Men kicks off tonight at 8:30. We'll give you an inside look at what to expect this fall. Delmarva Life, life at its best here on Delmarva.